Good morning. This is Josh Hayes with Hedge Plus, and here's today's market monitor. The headline for today is absolutely and definitely that China and the U.S. are set to begin formal trade talks on Saturday. The market definitely likes this news, and we'll show that here in a moment when we get to the overnight prices. But I can tell you we're up across the board. Doesn't mean we're out of the woods yet, but it's just significant that the market is reacting so strongly just to the idea or just the fact that these talks are going to occur. I think that a lot of people remained unconvinced that China was even going to want to talk to us about this, or that this wouldn't drag on and on until financial ruin for both countries. Never made sense to me, and I think part of the reason why so many people didn't quite grasp some, I guess, the urgency to have these talks and to get a deal sooner rather than later is the fact that China's economy is in really bad shape. They just underwent another round of stimulus. They're doing everything they can to pump up their economy, and that's their domestic economy. And you add this on top of it, and you're in some real serious problems. So it does not surprise me that China sought these talks, and also that they're happening so quickly. Now, I still do anticipate that deal to be one of the last, if not the last, deals to be finalized, because it's a massive deal. And there's a lot of moving parts here. But just the fact that they're getting underway is helpful because of the way it helps our markets and the reaction we're getting in the meantime. On a smaller note, the Mexican ag minister says trade deals have been reached with his U.S. counterpart. I'm sure that helps as well. In fact, I would venture so far to say as the bounce we've had overnight is not entirely just based on the news with China, because this is directly involving grains with this notification by the Mexican egg minister that there are deals specifically related to grains that are finalized. Everything else that the United States and Mexico is going to be talking about is going to be other things. But to know that that part of the deal is already set is positive news for us. Small note, market is starting to take notice of the ongoing dryness in China, something I've been talking about for, I want to say, about 3 weeks now. I said we'd reach critical point, and we finally have. China's wheat crop is definitely in doubt. The amount that they're going to be able to get from this year's wheat growing. And then the next thing up on deck for them is corn planting. So if this dryness continues, it's going to start to put their corn output in doubt as well. And that's, of course, I'll say it again, horrible timing for them, given the current trade battle that's going on with the United States. It's hard to maintain leverage when you're dependent on the country and other countries that you're talking to for grains. And China tries to grow as much as they can to cover their own needs, and they still can't quite do so. And then you add a bad crop on top of it, forcing them to import even more. And it just definitely heightens their urgency to get a deal done. There's still going to be bearish news, and this is still going to be an up and down recovery, I guess you could say, as trade deals start to leak out and make progress. But one thing to note that no doubt had a big role in this pullback we've had with soybeans was Argentinian farmers are finally bringing their soybeans to market. They had been reluctant to sell. Argentina's government decided to lower some taxes to urge them, to encourage them to sell, and their soybeans are now not only getting to market, but they're coming to market at considerably lower prices than anyone else in the world, and that's held back our prices, and no doubt will continue to be somewhat of a weight. Will it be outweighed by advancement on trade talks? Hopefully, but it's still a factor. And the other added aspect we've got, in addition to U.S. weather paving the way for great planting progress, we've had great weather in South America that is leading to near daily raised estimates of production there. So those are going to be the factors that are still going to be around, still weighing on the markets. But I feel like most of the pullback we've seen the last, 2 months now has been fear over trade and loss of export demand. And so if we start to get deals announced, big news from China wanting to talk with us, those are all, I think, outweigh the bearish factors going forward, at least for the short term. But just remember, come Saturday, I have very little doubt that there's going to be some word from either side that's going to sound negative and seem like they're miles apart on a deal, and that back and forth, because these countries are both still trying to maintain leverage against one another. So I don't expect it to be smooth sailing and just a straight climb up from here. So I think we'll have periods where these trade deals come into doubt again and questioned again, and it's going to lead to days like yesterday. So not quite out of the woods yet, but headed in the right direction. Taking a look at the weather, full speed ahead for planting in the United States. For the most part, I know there are definitely some dry areas in Nebraska, North Dakota, South Dakota. Doesn't mean they're not necessarily planting, but they definitely need rain soon. In Brazil, monsoons are gone. It's beginning to get really dry there. This is their normal seasonal pattern. What that means is it could become a problem later on for their safrinha crop. Right now, there's enough moisture in the ground that it's not a critical situation, not really an issue at all. But if it continues to stay dry and they don't get any rain at all, that will affect their fill and what they'll end up with their corn crop, their second corn crop. In China, wheat threatened by critical dryness. We've talked about that a lot. Main thing to note there is that it's getting on the radar of the markets, not just on the radar of people in the ag industry, but the markets are starting to take notice as well, especially with their wheat. And again, corn could be a problem later. In Ukraine and southern Russia, they're starting to get rain, and that's a big positive for them. That should gradually improve their crop. Here's the international price chart, which shows what Argentina is bringing soybeans to the market. As you can see here, quite a bit less than even Brazil, about $16 less per metric ton. And this chart in the last few weeks has had an A for Argentina. They hadn't been bringing anything to market just yet. Obviously, they were a little bit behind on harvest, and then, like I said, they had to incentivize their farmers to start selling. Farmers were holding on tight, and farmers have finally, in the past week or so, really started to flood the market with beans, and that's weighed down on our prices as well. Here's a look at the overnight prices up across the board. As I said, this is no doubt tied to the announcement of China and the U.S. having beginning their trade talks on Saturday. If anything, biggest note there was the fact that it was so quick. It wasn't like they made a formal announcement to talk in a month from now. They're talking on Saturday, so it's coming up quick. So the market's definitely like that. I would imagine, unless we get some kind of something to take the air out of the balloon, this should hopefully continue through the day, and it'd be wonderful if it continued through the week. These prices in relation to where we were 24 hours yesterday, corn pretty much matches what we see here. Corn was up this is up about 5 cents from 24 hours ago. At 10:53, soybeans are up about 8 cents from 24 hours ago, and at 5:43, wheat is up about 8 cents from yesterday. So pretty much most of this this gain is from the overnight. So that's all for today. Hope to have more good news the rest of the week. I hope you guys get the rain you need, and or where it's been too wet, I hope it's dry and clears the way for you. But we'll talk more tomorrow. Have a good day.